Now, let's have a look at the 80th parallel on a flat Earth map. Imagine that. The Antarctica turns into an ice wall. What you have to understand is that this is a Royal Navy ice patrol ship. And it is also an icebreaker, which means it can go places that no other vessels can go. Now, the only way that this Royal Navy ship is going to come looking for you in the ice is if you make it past the 60th parallel. And at the 60th parallel, you will be turned around by just your average Navy warship, whether it's China, America, Russia, whatever country you are close to. When you get to that 60th parallel, that country's Navy is going to send a cruiser or a warship out to turn you around. They are the first line of defense. The final line of defense is this Royal Navy ship right here. Now, I'm just showing you one. I'm not going to take up a lot of time showing you each one of these icebreakers, because there's an icebreaker for each territorial boundary of the 80th parallel, just as there's a warship for each territorial boundary of the 60th parallel. Okay, now let me help you understand that. On a so-called globe, this right here would be the 60th parallel south, and this is where the average Navy warship will turn you around and tell you that you are in maritime waters. Okay, now that you understand that, on a so-called globe, this right here would be the 80th parallel south, which is basically the whole coast of what you have been taught to believe as the Antarctica. And this is where the Royal Navy icebreaker ship will track you down. Now, let's have a look at the 80th parallel on a flat Earth map. Imagine that. The Antarctica turns into an ice wall. And look at that. The 80th parallel is the perimeter of the ice wall, which the Royal Navy icebreaker protects. And like I said, there is one of these icebreakers for each territorial boundary. I'm just showing you this one to give you an idea of how they patrol. Like I was saying, this Royal Navy icebreaker ship is designed to cut through this ice and come find you. You also have buoys on the ocean that have been there for a long time. And you can research this yourself. There are several sites, but for instance, right here, National Data Buoy Center. Now, if you'll scroll down a little bit, it gives you a map there with the red and yellow showing you where some of the buoys are, stations with recent data, stations with no data the last 8 hours. So yes, there are buoys stationed all over the ocean that transmits data. But anyways, check this out. Even if you can go under the radar of the Navy, they have these buoys that set off signals that will notify the Navy of your exact location. Here is a Google diagram of how it works. Just simple towers. The buoys are like towers on the ocean because the ocean is flat. So they send a signal to each one. And as soon as that signal goes off, when the waves get just a little bit rough, they know exactly where you are. And if you've ever seen a Navy radar, you would know that. Look at it. It's a flat, round disc. Shows the whole Earth. Now, I'm going to show you guys something. They even show you how they can find you without using radar. They hit it in the movie. Check this out.
Pearl Harbor here. We're approximately here. And they, whatever they are somewhere in the middle. We're trapped out here. What we know right now is we can't target them unless we have a plain line of sight. Without radar, we have no way to track them, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so they can't see us and we can't see them. And we have no way to hit them from a safe distance.
There is a way.
A way?
A way of seeing them without seeing them.
You're going to reference Art of War right now, aren't you? What are we supposed to do? Fight the enemy where they aren't? Move like water?
My way is much more simple. Water displacement.
How do you track water displacement?
Tsunami buoys.
Tsunami buoys.
You have them surrounding your islands, transmitting displacement data. We hack into their transmissions, form a grid.
You can't track anything without radar.
I don't need radar. Just the radio frequencies.
The hell is that?
It's a buoy. If it gets hit by a wave, it transmits a signal.
Bring up chart plot.
Chart plot. Bring it up.
So we can track without radar. We would practice it as a contingency plan.
Dirty, cheating,
Sneak off world.
Like I said, the buoys are like towers. They give off a signal, people. So no matter where you are on that ocean, they know exactly where you are. These are the things that will happen to you if you get caught somewhere between the 60th and the 80th parallel in maritime waters under the Antarctic Treaty. We got boats disappearing, people getting killed, and this man right here got jailed and fined. Now think about that, people. Jailed and fined, boats disappearing, people getting killed, all because they're going over here to try to check out this big old snowy ice continent that supposedly don't nobody live on but some penguins. Think about that. Think about that. Now, I don't care whether you believe me or not. That's on you. I'm just telling you the facts. Anyways, let's move on. Now, let's say you can make it past this territorial boundary of the 60th parallel. Also remembering that you can only make this trip 3 months out of the year before the ice fields start closing in. So let's say you can make it that far and somehow get close to the 80th parallel, which is where the Royal Navy icebreaker will be on guard and patrolling. And now, let's just say you can get past that bad boy. If you do, then you have about 5 or 6 foot of ice that's frozen on top of the ocean water that you have to break through. And you have to break through miles of that ice before you even get to the real ice wall.
Personally, I think the unconquered south face is the only one worth scaling. It's a 20,000-foot sheer wall of ice, but that's never stopped me before. Risk? Of course I'm aware of the risks. Thank you for your concern.
So let's say if you can get past all the ice on the ocean and make it to the wall, then you have to find a way to get up the 200-foot wall. Okay? Now, let's say you can get past all that. Then what you have is an ice desert that just goes on forever, filled with mountainy terrain and temperatures that are 150 degrees below zero. Now, if you can somehow make it past all that, you might find the firmament.